All right, everybody, looking into my Warriors viewfinder, and it looks like LeBron is going to choose the
Adam Silver said we have to finish up the schedule. And where LeBron plays affects the schedule. Opening week Christmas, so I need him to make a decision. Adam saying that is not going to speed up LeBron's decision at all. If I know Bron well, if anything, it may slow his decision down a little more because that's just how Bron is. But what I will say about this is for young players to hear Adam Silver say, yo, we need him to finish. We need to make the schedule. I'm a young guy. The first thing that I'm thinking is, man, we have leverage. What can we do with that leverage? Hey, NBA Players Association, there's leverage. What can you do with the leverage? That statement to me says far more than, hey, LeBron, make your decision. That statement to me is deep. I am expecting decisions sooner rather than later, but trust me, that definitely didn't speed it up.
Hey, we need to get LeBron, man.
But we need LeBron.
LeBron.
Oh,
we got it.
Okay, that's good. And go.
Put that on Twitter.
Okay, I got it. Hey, we need to get LeBron.
Here's a hard truth most founders don't want to hear. Being the best at
All right, hopefully you guys can hear me now. All right. All right. So here, this is the current odds that LeBron James' next team. Right here, look at Miami, just shot up. These are all the people that are betting. And Miami went from on July from 15%. Wow. In July, no, that was in July 15th. And then they shot all the way up to over 48%. But guess what? Cleveland's at 26, and then the Warriors dropped a point to 14%. So I can bet 14 cents, right, to win 87 cents. So, we're just playing this for fun. I'm not really trying to, break the bank. This is what gambling is, right? When you're trading, you can actually look at probabilities and manage your money and your margin account. You can control risk. Here, I don't have an expectancy that I'm going to make money, right? But I'm willing to play $14 to win 94, and it has a 15%. This is the odds, right? So this is saying that it has a 15% chance of winning. That's like buying a out of the money option like I did today in Tesla, right? I bought that out of the money put spread, and I bought an out of the money call spread that if it does go all the way to there, I'll get paid like almost 10 to 1. Here, you're getting paid about 7 to 1, right? Because you're betting 14 to win 80 cents. So review the buy, submit the buy. And so, yes, orders completed, just like a trading platform, right? So you go in here, we did a trade on Tesla. If you look at my previous live stream, right, I placed a bet that this is a binary event because they have earnings. See where it says earnings right here? They have earnings after hours. And I made a bet that it was going to gap up or down, but inside of this range, inside 405 and 334. This is what's called selling premium on elevated volatility environments. Remember, people say that volatility as a seller is your friend. Just like insurance, when there's a hurricane coming or there's some danger approaching, well, that insurance is going to cost a lot more, right? Like a kid just getting his driver's license. They're going to be a lot more dangerous on the road. higher probability of getting into an accident. So with higher probability, the premium gets more expensive. So here, the probability of Tesla gapping all the way down tomorrow after the earnings announcement is a higher probability of doing that. That's why the volatility expanded. So your range, your profitable range is a lot wider when you're selling volatility that is at 103%, right? This is the expected move here. So if you are new to options or trading, the options market right here, this is the options market, is a prediction market. They predict how much the stock is going to move up or down. They don't know if it's going to go up or down, but because of the premium, the volatility that's priced in, the implied volatility, right? This is implying that with the 68% probability that the stock is going to close within 22 points to the upside and 22 points to the downside. So knowing that information, I can now sell the strike that is 22 points away or more and 22 points away or down. So if volatility, which is typically overinflated, right? 70% of the time, volatility contracts, which means 30% of the time it expands, right? So what we're doing is we're selling high volatility. We're selling insurance on these stocks that are overinflated. And then after earnings comes out and then the volatility gets crushed, now the premium that you sold is a lot cheaper. And as long as the stock stays within this range, and we have 2 days, right? This position right here doesn't expire for another 2 days. So see days, this is your days to expiration right here. So this tells you how many days before this bet expires. So this bet is selling the 340 put. I sold insurance. I sold insurance at 340, meaning if it doesn't get into an accident at 340, right? So what is an accident? So an accident is this: if you have a stock chart, right? And Tesla, right, is currently trading at, whoops, hold on. It is currently trading at 374. So at 374, we are currently 374, right? If I add 22 to the upside, that gives me 396, right? That's the expected move, that if it does gap up, it's going to hit up to about 396. Anything above that, that's where you make money if you bought this call. But I sold this call, right? Because I think it's going to gap up, but as long as it stays below 396, what did I sell? I sold the 400. All right. So if you look here, I sold the 400 call, right? Whenever you see a negative, that means that's the one that you sold. If I sold that call, the selling the put, right? 340. I sold the 340 put. But what is the expected move? Here, let's change this to red since this is on the downside, right? So I sold the 340, but let's subtract the expected move downwards, right? Most people don't know the math behind options and trading, and this is the math because I'm a math teacher, right? That's my background. I always want to teach people, well, why does this make sense? If the math doesn't make sense, it don't make dollars, right? That is what you have to, as your framework as a trader, whether it's your probability, your risk to reward, your defined risk. Because as traders, all we are professional risk takers. We take risk when the odds and probabilities are on our side. So here, our mathematical edge is that we don't think it's gonna get below 352, right? And 352, I sold way out of the money. I sold the 340s. And you ask, Nick, why did you sell the 340s? Because if you actually look behind the curtain, I said that on my live stream that the three, actually, let me hide this. On the chart, look at on the activities. If you look at the volume, right? Look at the volume. This is what retail traders are most likely doing, right? Because if you look at what is going on here, let me pull up the strikes. Remember, as options, these are all just bets. These bets are all going to expire in 2 days. So this tells you how much these bets are going for. What I saw was I saw the big volume, right there at 340. So even though the break even was 372 or 374 minus 22, which is 350, this is where the expected move is. This is where big volume is at. So I sold outside. Whoops, I sold the 335s, right? I sold outside of that, which gives me a high probability, because if you look at the probability here, and you change it to probability of expiring in the money, right? Look at this. This has a probability of, let's delete all that. This has a probability of expiring in the money. The wait, what did I sell? Did I sell 330 or 335? I sold the 335s, right? Minus one. So the 335s have a probability of expiring less than 10% in the money, right? It has less than 10%. It has a chance to get all the way up there. That's the implied move, because depending on what the premium is going for, you can tell what the probability of it getting on the other side, right? On the upside is 372. Look at the volume. Oops, the open interest stands out. Here, let me make this all. And look at the volume here. Change this to volume. Right here on the call side. So on the call side, we saw that the break even to the upside was 372 plus 22, which is 396 or some. So here is where the expected move is, right? But look at all this volume and open interest at 400. So this is where a lot of bets are being placed. So I want to stay away from that retailer. This is their play. They're buying these bets or they're selling them. So most likely market makers are going to want to like scare them, push it down, and then potentially come back or settle near there within the next 2 days. So what I did was I sold outside of that move, right? Or actually I sold right at that move, that 400. That's how I was able to get some premium. 400 is outside of the expected 397, and it's right at where the people bought it at, right? So this is where you want to sell behind, and safer would have been selling the 405. So I feel safer if it gaps down than if it actually gaps up. So that is a quick off tangent. You know, people who don't know me, I go off tangent a lot. And here is the bet here at Golden State. It's done. So now that you see this auto sell, if you're up, you can actually take your profits right away if probability changes somehow, right? I don't need to take profit, but it's like using a limit order. You can say, okay, if this thing goes all the way up to $56 and I can cash out, this is what cash out means for people that, you know, are in the gambling, right? Cash out means you can take out less. See how you're only getting 75 cents, but if you actually were able to just hold it all the way, you would have made $94, right? But by getting out early, you can then lock in your profits. And that is the key to trading as well, is you want to take your profits early before it expires, before the game ends, so that you can then see you don't have to put the risk all the way till expiration. So here is the different, when will LeBron's new team be announced? You could even bet, is it going to be before the 27th or before the 28th, before the 29th, right? Look at, see, right now the market is favoring 68% before July 29th, of course, right? Because you have more days, right? Here are the rules. For LeBron James choose the next, right? Outcome has to be verified by ESPN and Fox Sports. And so that's how you can bet in these markets. But what is the disadvantage is when you're trading the actual stock market, the liquidity is way better. You get more bang for your buck. You have asymmetric returns. You can make 2, 3, 4, 5 to 1. Yes, you could do it in sports as well, like this LeBron James bet. But with trading, you could position yourself better because by buying stocks that are at support, right? Let's say you see a stock, Google also has earnings today after hours, right? And if it's buying at support, now if it actually goes up, you have potential to make 4 to 5 to 1 odds. That's how you can put the math on your side by taking risk that gives you asymmetric returns. All right, folks. So that is the LeBron James trade. I'm hoping that we are able to get LeBron to help Steph and Draymond and help the legacy of, put in the chat if you like, if you know who these guys are right here, right? Mitch Richmond, Chris Mullin, Run TMC, right? Tim Hardaway. That was my favorite player growing up, number 10, Tim Hardaway, right? Do it for Run TMC. You guys remember that poster you would hang with all the spray paint, like Run DMC, but it was Run TMC, right? And then here, right, rumors that Clay might want to come back because he's got, I think he's a free agent, unrestricted. He can choose where he wants to go. So hopefully he'll be riding his canoe back in the Bay or Alameda. Shout out to Alameda 510, the farm. And then we got a little Clay Rubik's Cube, right? You know, Clay's got a lot of personalities, right? Remember the fake Clay that was walking around YouTube? He got busted trying to get in there. And last but not least, actually not even last, this, I got to tell you guys, this is where we separate the real Warriors fans. So number one, oh, where did I put it? Oh, man. Did I leave it? Oh, man. Okay. I left it. But here's the debate. I personally think the Warriors would have been better off not signing Kevin Durant. Remember when we won 73 games, right? We lost only 9. We had something special, but then we let Bogut go, and then he got hurt. We would have won 3 in a row anyways if Bogut didn't get hurt, right? And if we didn't get Durant, we could have really seen our true base, homegrown, leave this legacy. But by getting Durant, it cheapened the whole experience. It's like it's a riches, right? Spoiled of riches. So I got bored after the second season. I was like, how much are we going to win this time? How much are we going to win by this time? Like, it was boring. So actually, when we won again in 2022 against Boston, I was like, oh my gosh, we got back there, right? You know, I almost felt like we believed back in 2006, you know, against Utah, right? Actually, we beat Dallas, right? The old Nelly team. And then we played Utah. And then, Baron Davis dunking over Kirilenko. You Warriors fans, you guys know what's up. And then now let's see if LeBron joins the Warriors. I used to be kind of a LeBron hater, but not really, because I did, you know, respect his game. You know, he's the smartest basketball player out there. Pairing him up with Curry, Draymond, Kerr, we'll be the smartest team out there, and we're going to pass the ball left and right, and it's going to be beautiful. So let's go, man. Let's bet on the Warriors to get Mr. LeBron James and make this happen and make a little money at the same time. All right, peace.